There. Okay, he did press record.
You know what?
Good job, buddy.
You
High
know
five.
what? No,
Oh,
this.
what? Wah, wah.
All right.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah,
Okay, good job.
there you go.
I'm proud
All
of
right.
you.
You want to introduce our guest to us?
Yes.
We're very fortunate, and this is real. This is a real episode. This is not AI. I am me. She is
You
her.
sure?
Are you you?
I am me today. I
Okay,
am me
you are
today.
you today.
See?
Yeah,
Me
yeah.
Today.
So this is all literally us. It really is.
Yeah. So our guest today, and why everybody thinks that you're freaking out with this skin mask thing, or
Oh.
I don't know what you're.
It's not the real
Trying to
Joe
get at.
Biden. There's a skin mask.
Our guest today is Patrick Burton.
Flat earther?
And him flat earther extraordinaire. No, that's a different episode. Partner in Ben Vision? Partner in Ben Vision, the company.
Co-founder, yeah.
Yes. Okay, great. Co-founder, Ben Vision. And we'll get into more of what that is in a little bit. But he is what I would consider an expert in AI and AI technologies, even though he shakes his head no, but he knows way more than me. So maybe a scotch under
Enthusiast
expert?
is the term.
Enthusiast.
Are we really
hobbyist.
looking at the real Patrick? I mean, look at him. Look at the background overlay. I don't know if that's really him or not.
Gotta be a deep fake.
It's got to be. Something going on here.
There's always a conspiracy somewhere.
Something's afoot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, AI is one of those things that people are very nervous about right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know what to think about it. I'm leaning in really hard. I love AI. I think it's the coolest thing. And in my point of view, if you can lean into it and learn the things, it's less scary. And you can also utilize the tools to the best of your advantage. Mm-hmm. What are you seeing in the world of AI, since you live there more than I do? What are people saying? Like, what are kind of their concerns, and how do you answer those concerns for them?
That's tough. So the biggest concerns around AI are like when are we going to get to the point where we don't know what's real anymore, right?
Sure.
So that's one of them, and I guess the other one is like, when is it going to take all of our jobs?
Okay.
I don't know if I have good answers for either of those things, though.
Sure.
I mean, it's with all technology, like, to the second point, the example I always like to use is like photography. Photography, a lot of painters were really upset when photography became a thing, and they looked at photographers like they're not real artists because all they're doing is taking a box and pressing a button, and then they get this picture that looks like like something that only a very seasoned and experienced painter could make. But then photography sort of evolved into its own art form and became something entirely different from painting. And painting, the industry for that kind of art changed, but it never truly went away. And I think we'll see something similar with AI. I think we are seeing something similar with AI that, it's a different. There's now different ways to create images, and then there's this whole other concern about like whether it's fair use or not to be scraping the web for all of these images that they're training the models with.
Right. Well, then I've seen videos of like Obama and Biden and Trump, and it's all AI created. AI voice,
here we
AI
go.
video.
Here we go.
Well,
I'm supposed to be the conspiracy theorist.
well, and it can very real. There's a very real concern out there that it can affect elections.
No, you're right.
How
I
do you
did see
know?
Obama coming down from the Air Force One, and his leg went through a pole, like it kind of glitched.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, no, he has two legs.
Right.
This is a green screen. How do
Yes.
you? I mean,
Yeah,
I guess you could do that.
Well, yeah,
he
and
could do
anybody
it. He's
could
probably
create
behind the
those
whole
things.
thing.
Absolutely, and anybody can create those things and put them out on social media.
Sure.
I've noticed that lately, putting our videos up on YouTube, it does ask a question of, are any of the images or the thoughts that are in this video AI produced or copied or created.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's
And that's
a
because they
question
can't
it
tell
asks you.
reality from AI, huh?
Right.
They have to ask.
Yeah.
What do you think
Very
about
interesting.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
So I've heard a lot of concerns from like educators, concerned either that their students are using it to do their homework, or that that their applicants to an institution are using AI to answer their questions. And I've experienced that. We just went through a hiring cycle, and it was really easy for me to spot the people that used ChatGPT and the ones that didn't. And a lot of people, when they email me, a lot of them are using ChatGPT to write their emails for them.
Yeah. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
How do you spot that though?
Is it the emojis?
My daughter applied for a job at Papa John's.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say Jaden's name, but she applied for Papa John's, and she said, "Does this email sound good? Or this letter I'm gonna send to try to get hired at Papa John's." And I said, "Who wrote this?" She goes, "ChatGPT." It was written perfectly. Everything someone who wants to knead the dough and all that stuff would need to know. That even rhymes. And she did it. And it was like, this isn't you. But apart from knowing the person personally, how do you know? How were you able to pick that out?
Well, this goes back to what Aaron was saying just a couple minutes ago about how just trying to embrace the tools and like learn, be familiar with them. And, one thing I'll say is like you can't use a AI detector service because there are those that exist. OpenAI even released their own version of an AI detector, but then they pulled it because they realized that it wasn't accurate enough. So on the one hand, like what I'll say is that myself, I use ChatGPT every day, literally. Yeah. And so I'm able to spot the patterns. There's certain words that it gravitates towards. It really likes pivotal, crucial. It really likes saying
Folks.
loves
folks.
Loves saying folks.
Folks.
Like my folks?
Folks. Yes.
Like your parents?
Yes. Hey, folks.
Yeah. Well, that's if you ask it to speak more casually, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can you ask it to speak redneck?
Yes.
Totally. I
Really?
mean,
I could say ChatGPT in the voice and writing of the Larry the Cable Guy. I would like to produce a letter to the President of the United States.
Yeah.
And it would go Larry Cable Guy on him.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to try this.
Yeah, it's very cool.
There's a lot of fun you could have with it.
Yeah.
Is it free?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
So I mean, there's a premium paid subscription that you could do, but their base model is free, and it's pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, I was using the free version forever, and then I decided to pay for it so I can get those enhanced features because I do use it all the time. And I'm not entirely sure I can tell the difference other than the visual creation that it can do for me. But yeah, the free version is great and totally fine.
Would it be completely off subject to ask, how do you use it on a daily basis in the work that you do in AI? You use AI to do AI. Is that right?
Sort of, yeah.
Oh,
we use AI in our software.
Okay.
But I use it, a multitude of ways. Sometimes it's to help me strategize and to help me do research. That's actually probably the most useful case that I've found for it so far, is helping me learn, using it as a learning tool. And this is something that I demonstrated when I did my AI talk for the chamber, is that that you can actually use. My favorite prompt is, break this down for me like I'm 5 years old, or like I'm in 5th grade or something.
And it will.
And it'll simplify concepts in a way that you could explain to a child. And so that's probably been the most useful for me.
So is AI like ChatGPT? That's like Google. So you can ask it questions. What is this? What is that? Like Google, but it will also produce things for you that you request.
Yeah. So whereas Google returns like search results, or
Right.
they do like a bunch of ads and then search results, ChatGPT is taking all of the data that exists on the internet and then compiling it into a neural network and then pulling from a database. So the database is actually, it could exist offline. It doesn't need to be connected to the internet. It already has all that information in there. And so then when you can have a conversation with it about what it's been trained on, and then it'll tell you whatever you want to know from it.
Well, I've probably lived under a rock for a long time. I don't know anything about AI. My question is, I'm totally taking over this
Yeah, it's
episode.
fine.
I'm so sorry. I don't know anything. I'm just genuinely curious. I don't know as much as you.
Sure. Sure. Well, one
you'll
thing,
never hear me say
one
that
thing
much.
I think is really interesting about AI is people are convinced, specifically with ChatGPT, people are convinced that if you speak to it politely and like a human, it will return better results to you.
Mm-hmm. Also,
Like if
it's
you
not
say-
like a human.
Yeah, if you say something like, "Thank you for those results. It wasn't quite what I was looking for, but maybe we could go this direction." Or, "Please write me something," like you're, but
You curse
that
at it,
can't
don't you?
possibly be
You curse
the
at it,
case,
don't you?
right? I
mean,
guess
it's-
unless it's in the code.
It's trained on actual conversations that people have. So
Okay.
if you can imagine that in these conversations, the ones that where the asker is polite with the person that they're asking information from, that person is probably giving them a better result than conversations where the asker is not polite.
Okay.
Although I will say that I've read conflicting things about this, and my experience is also varied. That like there are some data scientists that know a lot more about these generative models than I do. That say like, no, you don't have to be polite. Just use as little words as possible when you're telling it what to do, and you be firm in your commands and stuff like that.
Okay.
And like, yeah, but I personally, just on a personal level, I like to be polite just because it's how I interact with people anyways. And
You are a pretty nice guy.
I try.
I mean, I've never had a beer or anything with you, but he seems to be a pretty nice guy.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That's why I asked him to be on the show.
Oh,
I don't converse with jerks, so
It's a good rule for life.
I just
are you being sarcastic?
no. I'm being very serious.
All right. Well, I have a question that I didn't get to because you
Yeah,
cut me
go ahead.
off again.
Okay, I see what you did there.
This is probably a stupid question, maybe even for you
Go for it.
as well. Who invented AI? Like, where did this all start? Who did this? Who made this? And are they billionaires by now?
Yeah, there's no single inventor of artificial intelligence. It's something that
Really?
we've been working on for decades now. There was the first recorded case of AI model or a form of AI. I think it was in the 1950s with like chess bots, computers that could play chess.
The 50s?
That's right.
Yeah. But
Oh, Bobby Fischer went against some automated chess thing.
I think so. Yeah, I think Bobby Fischer did play a computer at chess.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been playing with AI our whole lives. I mean, if you look at video games and things like that, I mean, the computer is trying to block you in Mario or any of these other
Yeah.
devices.
Well, my son calls them non-player
NPCs, yeah,
NPCs, non-player something.
characters, I think.
Non-play. Yeah, that's it.
Non-playable characters.
That
something
is
like
kind of AI, isn't it?
Yeah,
Somebody's,
absolutely. And it's
by
randomized.
simulation, obviously.
Well, same with solitaire. It's even solitaire is randomized.
Sure.
Via
Is it random?
artificial
Well,
intelligence.
I don't know if it's randomized because there's a strategy for the computer responding to your choices. If you move pawn 2 steps forward or 2 blocks forward, it's going to move that horse. It knows what its options are, and it on its own. Am I right here?
We're talking
It
about
picks the
chess.
best. No,
You're talking
on
about
its
chess.
own. Yeah, chess.
Not
Automated-
solitaire.
Whatever. Well, solitaire. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how random any casino is. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just going to tell you. I don't know. I'm not saying anything. Okay,
But
don't
you're
get
right.
mad.
With chess, it's learning and it's playing against you.
I don't know if it's learning. I think it's got a preset list of moves that are a response to your move, and the likelihood of this response to his move being the most effective as opposed to the second most effective and the third most effective. I don't think AI has a free will, so to speak, but I think it, and you're going to have to correct me on this, I don't think it has a free will, but I think it has a list of options of responses, and it picks the best response according to your strategy to respond to your strategy in order for AI to do what? Win, make it competitive, not quite win, let you win.
Right.
Right? Am I on the right track here?
Well, there's an important distinction to make between like early forms of AI. There's there's different levels, I guess I should say, of
yeah.
AI. There's artificial intelligence. There's deep learning, which is a type of AI that does learn as it goes. There's machine learning. I guess I would reverse those. Machine learning comes first, and then deep learning, and then there's generative AI, where you're actually providing an input and it's outputting something entirely different, not necessarily something that it's been programmed to say or do.
Wow.
So there are different levels of AI. There are AIs that are built to learn, and that's what we're seeing in this most recent iteration since November 21, or was it 22? I can't remember now.
With ChatGPT?
With ChatGPT, yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember. But it is limited. So it's not a search engine. So it's only limited to the information it has. So if you go into ChatGPT and you say, who is running for president in 2024, it doesn't know. It can't tell you that because it's not pulling information in. It's limited to what it was given before.
So it's limited to current information. It can't project.
Well,
Some probably can project.
Not projecting, but just knowing what's happening today. You know, it only knows from November of 2022, let's say. We can't remember what the date cut off. Anything after November 2022, it has no idea it happened.
Yeah, so that as far as its training data goes, then it's limited to its training data. But now with all of these new AI-powered chatbots, a lot of them have web browsing capabilities. So if it doesn't,
Google.
Yeah, Google's Gemini, ChatGPT actually also has web browsing built into it. Claude, they all have it now. So that if you ask a question that it needs to browse the web to get the answer to, then it can do that.
Oh,
Okay,
gotcha.
and that leads me to
Wow,
one of my biggest concerns about AI, and as I'm learning now, not concerns I've had before this moment. Okay, so I haven't thought this through. Okay, disclaimer: I have not thought any of this through. I'm a common sense kind of guy, and so when AI pulls from the internet to have knowledge about what's going on, do they pull from Fox or CNN?
That's
you get what I'm
that's
driven.
valid.
Because
That's valid.
what they're pulling is information that's out there. My question is, who's feeding, let's just say any AI, ChatGPT, doesn't matter who it is, who's feeding them that information? Because there will always be a subjective slant to it, right?
Yeah.
And so how can we be ensured, or can we, that the information ChatGPT or AI is giving us doesn't have, some sort of agenda to it?
Google just got in big trouble for this.
Yes.
If you heard a story about black Nazis and black George Washington.
Yes.
Yeah. So you looking at me like,
I had no idea.
Yeah. So there was this phenomenon. I'll see if I can recall it accurately. But sorry.
That's all right.
This is
You got to go.
Yeah.
it's a work thing, but that's okay. So Google, they put out this model called Gemini, and you're able. It's multimodal, so you can generate text with it, you can generate images, you can generate different things, and people, as people do, they started stress testing it, and they uncovered that there's in the efforts there's something called guardrails that they put on these models so that they won't, for example, tell you to kill yourself or give you harmful information.
Right. Sure.
I can't get ChatGPT to cuss.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Exactly.
I want it to, but it won't.
And so that's a layer that exists on top of the model. So it's not something that they put into the training data, but it's on top of the model. It exists between the user and the model that says okay, so if you're about to give a response that involves suicide or that involves cursing or whatever, then think of something else to say. And so it's this extra agent that exists in between the user and the actual model. And so Google, in their guardrails, they wanted to make sure everything was politically correct. But the method that they went by, it it produced unexpected results.
It went too far, right?
Yeah, they overcorrected, I guess
Yeah.
you could say. And so when people said, generate me a picture of a Nazi, and that's all they said, then it spat out an image of a black man wearing a Nazi uniform.
No.
And that was because they had put something in their guardrails that said, like, when you generate an image, make sure that you're including people of all races. And there's like a pretty innocent idea,
Right.
but you can see how it would be problematic for some people.
Well, it goes to like the movies, like the one with Will Smith, where the robots they get tired of being on demand to the humans, and they have like 3 rules or whatever, right? And one of the rules is don't harm a human.
Yeah.
But now they themselves have decided the humans are harming each other, and we need to stop them from doing that. So how we're going to stop them from doing that is we're going to do New World Order, and we're going to take over everything, and we'll protect you.
Yeah, but they had to be programmed to get to that point.
Well, they
right?
were programmed to not hurt a human, not harm a human, and therefore not letting humans harm each other. And so it overcorrected, like the Google bot did, and because it doesn't know the difference. And so in their mind, they are protecting you, even though it's not what's best for you.
Yeah. And I think
is
important
interesting.
to also note when it comes to artificial intelligence, the one word of that sticks out to me is artificial. So any thought processes are artificial. Any emotions or displays of emotion by a robot or an AI is artificial. It's pre-programmed, right? They can't just decide. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's easy to get hung up on the word artificial also, because I mean, all it means is that it's man-made, and there's so many things that are like humans are man-made.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, true.
So it's easy
good.
Easy to get hung up on that, but I don't think there's much distinction. I mean, it would make more sense to call human intelligence, and then machine intelligence that, or something like that.
Yeah.
Man-made, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Well, and the reason why we wanted you to come on here today, and why you're talking about AI and stuff, is because you're creating this really great product for people with limited or no sight. And I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about what the product is, and then I want to go back to how you started. I want to go, because I've talked to you about it before, about the process of getting there, and how the product came to be, and how your team came to be, and all that stuff. But if you could just give us some idea of what the product is. And we've got the homepage of your website scrolling behind you. So for all of you who are listening to this, the audio only, you can check out the video version of our podcast, and you can kind of see the homepage. But
you're missing Aaron's on-screen debut.
Yes, look at me. I'm famous.
Yeah.
So what are you developing, and how is it going to help?
Totally. So, like echolocation, the way that bats and dolphins get around, they can't see so well. So what they do is they emit a squeak or a beep or a click, and they listen to the reflection of that sound. And based on what their surroundings are, that echo is going to sound different. And they do brain mapping to understand, like, oh, okay, well, when it's a little bit muted, that means that there's something in front of me, and I can't keep on flying forward. And so we use that same concept of echolocation, but it's computer enhanced. And so our application, we originally built it for smart glasses, but now it's a mobile app. Eventually we'll go back to smart glasses, but the hardware's just not there yet. We're still working that part out. But it's an app that sonifies objects. So it runs a computer vision algorithm, which is AI, it's machine learning. And it runs a computer vision algorithm to determine what the camera on your phone is looking at. And once it identifies and locates it, it categorizes it. It puts it into a category. So, for example, this water bottle would go into water bottle category. Any plant that's in a pot would go in potted plant category. All of us, we would go in the human category. And based on those categories, it assigns a melody to that object. And because it's been spatially located, it can actually drop a musical cue in digital space approximately where that object is. So as you're walking through your environment, you're navigating through a symphony of sound. So imagine if every object was a speaker. We're eventually converting objects into virtual speakers that all play beautiful music, and all of the music has been engineered to sound good together. It's harmonic. So so that it's not a cacophony. It doesn't overwhelm you with information. Sure. So that's what we're building. There are solutions on the market that use similar algorithms to identify objects, and then they speak out the name of the object to you. And those are useful too. We actually have an ancillary product that we're about to launch. It's called Speakaboo. I can demo it to you guys if you want, but you essentially point the camera at something, and you can press a button to snap a photo, or you can hold and ask a question about what you're looking at, and then within 3 seconds it will speak back a response to you about what you're looking at.
Wow.
And that also, obviously, that uses generative AI.
Nice.
Yeah. So on your website it says music-based mobility. Music-based mobility. Music-based mobility.
You'll get there.
Not biblically. Music-based. Gosh, could you say it? Could you read it?
Music-based mobility.
Music-based mobility for the visually impaired. What is music-based mobility? Like, what do you mean by that?
Totally. So the cues that it drops on these objects. So like I said, it essentially what it does, it observes objects in your space, and then it assigns musical cues to them based on what those objects are. So it's transforming objects into virtual speakers. So the music element is actually, we created it just thinking like, let's give blind people like a positive experience. Let's give them a product that they will enjoy using. But then we didn't realize until we started focus testing it that music actually holds a huge advantage over a speech-based approach. In that,
really?
If I were going to describe my surroundings to you, I would say like, okay, there's a man wearing a blue shirt right in front of me. About 3 o'clock, there's a woman wearing a purple plaid shirt, and she's got beautiful bluish, greenish eyes.
Dear God.
But like, it takes me time. Like, it took me like, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds to say all of that. It's kind of a mouthful. But if we convert it into music, then all of that information is being communicated instantly, all at the same time. And because it's binaural, because it's being communicated in stereo, I'm hearing that you're right in front of me. I'm hearing that you're at 3 o'clock. And so it's actually a much more efficient way to communicate information. And not only that, but I'm able to carry on a conversation with you guys while I'm hearing it. Whereas if I was hearing a description, like what I just spoke out to you, I wouldn't, I'm sure if you have kids, then you can't listen to 2 conversations at the same time.
Right.
Can I choose the type of music I want to hear? For example, if I'm using this AI product that you have, and I want to know that Aaron is to my left, can I get that in glam metal from the 80s? Kind of a version of that. Is that the kind of music-based mobility you're talking about? Does it sing to me that Aaron is to my left? And if so, can I get one of these? Or is it going to be a strictly classical? Or I'm probably way off in understanding any of this, but
no, I love the way you're thinking about it.
See, this is an update for your app. Let's get 80s metal, glam, and then you have the speed metal. Then you have Nirvana. You have that. You have Slayer and Iron Maiden. That's kind of fast. And you got things like Crew and Rat, Ozzy. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
I like it. I'll pass it on to our
I'm a genius.
Audio director.
I'm top 1% of all people.
Sure you are.
She will tell you that. She told me that, didn't you?
No. No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
recognize.
Should have.
Might have been the AI. So So right now,
Well played.
right now, all of the musical cues are pre-composed. We have one of my co-founders is she worked in film composition or film scores for 10 years, and now she does audio for game design. But she's pre-composed all of these sounds and made sure that they all sound good together. And so that's important, that the sounds within the soundscape can mesh together, because otherwise it's chaotic and it's doing the opposite of what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But what we're doing right now is we're training a generative model to reproduce those sounds, so that well, the problem is that there's like hundreds of thousands of different types of objects, and we can't possibly compose hundreds of thousands of sounds. That's just going to take too long. And so you could theoretically get a new sound for every type of object that you see. To your question about whether we could get like death metal or that might be an option in the future.
No screamo, just your heavy, Dr. Feelgood, something like that.
I guess it depends how the person's dressed. Really.
Yeah, that would make sense. So when it comes to all of this, do you classify objects like solid objects have this type of sound, people have this type of sound? Like, where do you begin? Do you make these pretty big generalizations and certain sounds are associated with those types of objects or people?
Yeah. Well, so my co-founder, she's a seasoned audio engineer, and she has, or I guess, sound designer is probably what she prefers. But she has a lot of experience designing sounds for certain objects. She's done like Foley and all of that stuff before, and so she has a process where she, and this is an oversimplification, but she like takes the object. She thinks like, okay, what are the things that it makes me think of? And so for example, like a potted plant sounds a little bit like rustling leaves, because that's, plants don't make sound, but when they do make sounds, it's usually when the wind's blowing through them and you hear the leaves rubbing together. A bottle of water sounds a little bit like dripping water, because again, water bottles don't make noise, but water makes noise, and that's an association that you can make in your brain.
So are a lot of the sounds that are created for objects? So I imagine that it was like a piano medley on each one, but it sounds like it's more the sound relates to what the object is. So it feels like less of a learning curve for the user when you go to put the technology to use. Rather than learning a symphony of 100,000 sounds. You don't have 100,000 sounds. I can only imagine what a grocery store or a knick-knack store would feel like, or walking downtown, or like New York, right? That would just be like a symphony of sound. So you're right, your audio designer would have to come up with something that really melodies together in order for it to not be pure crazy ADHD craziness in your brain and have you just want to scratch the inside of your brain while wearing it. So it's got to be a beautiful sounds. And the sounds have to really work together in order to not make the user kind of go crazy.
Yeah. And there is a little bit, I won't say a learning curve, because it's engineered to be intuitive, and a lot of our users in our focus groups have been able to intuitively use the product without me even giving them any orientation on it.
Oh, nice.
But one of the pieces of feedback we got was that they actually enjoyed the experience of, this is somebody who has no vision at all. She literally doesn't have eyeballs anymore, and she has the glass ones, but she noted that she really enjoyed it. On top of it being useful, she really enjoyed the experience of guessing, like, oh, this thing that kind of sounds a little bit buzzy, like this is probably the microwave that I'm trying to find. And then she reaches out and touches it and realizes that she was right. And so it sort of provides like a gamified experience too.
Wow.
That's really fun. And I understand, I know that your technology is, it came from a brainchild of a multitude of people. You have a team of people working with you
Mm-hmm.
in Ben Vision. But if we go all the way back to the birth of what do you call your glasses? What do you call the tech? Do you have a name for it? Or is it Ben Vision? Is that the name of the tech and your business?
So it's called Ben, the
Okay.
binaural experience navigator.
Okay.
I was wondering who Ben was. I'm like, this guy's name's not Ben. You're not Ben. Your partner's name is not Ben. Who the hell? Who is Ben?
Who is Ben?
A lot of
Yeah,
people do.
what does it stand for again?
It stands for binaural experience navigator. But Ben is a real person, or was. rather.
That sounds like an orientation, if you ask me. It does. What is it again?
Binaural.
Binaural. That sounds like something somebody made up. You get my drift. Just saying.
A little bit.
Anyway, let's move on.
Well,
I get in trouble.
I mean, don't you want to know who Ben is, though?
Yeah, he wants to know who Ben is.
I want to know who Ben is now that I
Yeah, now that you
understand
brought
what
it
it
up.
is.
Yeah.
A little.
Ben is he was a man. It was a man named Ben Underwood that inspired us to.
It was a man. Ben was
he's
a
dead.
guy.
He's dead now. But yeah, he
I knew it.
so if you look up like YouTube videos of Ben Underwood, then you'll find videos of this blind dude like riding a bike and shooting hoops in a basketball.
I'm sorry, riding a bike? A
Yeah.
blind guy.
Yeah. And he's using echolocation. He's clicking with his tongue and using the echo of that sound to determine what he has around him.
Wow.
And
As soon as we're done, Aaron, we're going to get a bicycle and we're going to test this out. You're going to get on it. You're going to click your tongue as you're going through the
I'm
parking lot
sure
out
it
here.
took him a while to teach himself how to do those things.
Trial and error. It's the human progression. That's how we got to where we are. That's how we're going to do that. Are you willing to do it for
not even a little
for
bit.
all of our viewers out there?
No. Sorry, viewers. No.
I'm sorry. I keep interrupting Patrick. I apologize.
Yes, you do.
No, you're good.
I'm just squirrel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
sorry about that. Go ahead with Ben Underwood.
yeah, I mean,
Bicycle, clicking, not crashing.
exactly. And so he's one of the handful of people that taught him echolocation. There's others too. There's one that's like a rock climber. I think he's still alive, and I think he's probably got like an Instagram that you could probably follow, but I don't know what his name is. So, but I know what Aaron really wants
That's
to talk
very
about
cool.
though. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He knows that I want to nerd out. All right. So your inspiration is Ben. And
Ben Underwood.
Yeah. And all of his creativeness in not letting what a lot of people would think as a limitation hold him back. So,
Or parked cars.
yes. Well, I mean, just thinking about riding a bike with a blindfold on frightens me, and I'm not doing it for Jamie's entertainment. I don't think I'd even do a tricycle. Like, even if I could stay steady, I don't think I'd full speed a tricycle blindfolded. So so in my mind,
Patrick will
very
do
brave.
it for us. Maybe he'll do it. He's the AI guy. He studied this Underwood character. He could do it.
But so Ben being the inspiration, I know a little bit about the story of where the Ben Vision stems from. And there was I'm going to get this very wrong. In my head, it makes sense. But you had an experience at MIT, and I would love for you to share that with us, starting from how did you get either invited or selected, or did you pay to go? And then what did that experience look like to get to where you are now?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my background is videography. I was a video producer and motion designer, animator. I was doing like commercials and web ads and fashion videos and that kind of stuff. But I sort of naturally evolved into augmented reality because it was a similar medium to what I was doing, but it was more interactive. And so augmented reality is like your Pokemon Go, if you ever played that, or heard of that.
yeah.
Sure.
Or like Snapchat lenses or Instagram filters, those things that change your face and make it look like you're crying. Or
Yes, I've seen those. Those are hilarious.
yeah. So I would make custom filters for usually the same clients that I was making videos for, and package them together.
Well, I've played with one of your custom filters before. I think it was a video. It was at the like a chamber event at the expo, and it was a video. And then if you opened your mouth, bubbles would fly out or something. And it was really cool.
You had udders on your head. You had an udder on your head, and then when you open your mouth, milk squirts out of the udders.
Okay, Patrick, do you have any studies of psychology in your background, psychiatry?
No.
Yeah. You constantly bring up the AI where you open your mouth and bubbles come out. I want to know where this comes. I've heard it about 50 times in the last 3 days. And we were at dinner last night talking about Patrick's going to be here, and I'm like, yay. And there's two things I'm really concerned with you about. It is this whole bubble thing, and then also this thing.
You're concerned with me, bubbles coming out of my mouth, but you want to go blindfold ride a bike.
No, I want you to go blindfold ride a bike, or Patrick. Look, somebody's got to capture this on the video, and that's me. I'm the videographer here. He knows what videography is. There's a camera there, there's one there, and Patrick's is right back there. I'm simply saying that you have this thing about open my mouth and bubbles come out. Where does that come from?
No clue.
Did you take bubble baths as a child or something?
Yes, of course.
And then
everybody?
The second thing I have for you is I want to know what AI would say of what does, in your glasses or whatnot, say, what does Bigfoot sound like if he were to walk in front of me? Is there a sound for that? So question one, let's stay in order here, okay? Let's just stay focused. Question one is, where does this bubble thing come in? Number one, why the bubbles out of the mouth? Is that did you experience a filter at some point in your past life that you really liked that, the way it looked, or what? What happened?
Do you want me to answer, or are you just going to continue to ramble on?
Well, you know what? It's ramble worthy if you ask me. You brought it up about 50 times in 3 days. Bubbles,
I don't know where the bubble thing comes from.
Okay.
One day you were getting a facial, and then you open your mouth, and bubbles came out. And it was so traumatic that you'd buried it deep into your subconscious. And did I break the podcast? Do we have to stop now?
Let's just go right back to the Bigfoot problem. Forget her. Let's move on to our guest here, Patrick. Although he did start this whole thing, he did start the whole thing. Yes. Facts. What would AI? What sound do you think AI would come up with that says, I want to hear Bigfoot? What, walking through the brush or going, yeah, I've heard all kinds of, it screamed at me. What does that even mean? What does it sound like? What do you think AI would say about, Bigfoot? This guy.
Yeah. Well, with large objects, generally we associate large objects with...
And hairy objects.
Yeah. Well, let's one property at a time. With large objects, we generally associate those with deep resonating bass sounds, like your voice, Jamie, and
thank you.
And it kind of makes sense because you are a large object. So there's a logic behind it.
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Okay, take it how you
I'm going to take it how I want. Yes.
Not to objectify you or anything.
I don't mind.
But so if it were Bigfoot, I mean, generally, when I think of Bigfoot, I'm thinking of trees crashing in the forest, something rumbling. Yeah. So it would probably be some sort of deep bass. That's what I would guess our AI would come up with for Bigfoot. And then maybe because he's furry, maybe there would be a little bit of rustling hair sound too.
Yeah.
But it would also be melodic because that's what we're doing.
And he's majestic. I don't know if you've ever seen these out of the salon gifs of Bigfoot walking by, and he's just majestic. Yes.
No, he's not majestic. He's bumbling
got a
through
natural
the woods.
musk about him.
He has a natural gait, okay, but he stinks, right? They always say it's a terrible smell, and he was throwing rocks. I mean, if this thing was advanced, how did we get to Bigfoot?
You're the one that brought it up. He was trying to tell us about his cool MIT experience. And you're like, let's talk about Bigfoot because you're obsessed.
If he was advanced, he would be throwing rocks at people, and he wouldn't be eating squirrels. How smart are you if you're out there eating squirrels?
Nobody said he was advanced. Also,
he needs
there's
AI.
squirrel
If anybody
season
needs
for hunting
ChatGPT,
season.
it's that guy.
In Oregon, there's squirrel hunting season. Just
MIT. Let's get back to that before Aaron takes us really far afield. Where were we in the whole MIT story?
So yeah,
I am so sorry for Patrick.
Maybe you
Please
should
continue.
sit on your face.
Please continue, Patrick. Do not bring up Alta's text.
oh geez.
I saw that. It was highly inappropriate. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right, so
He's never coming back on our show.
No, nobody should.
As a videographer, I started doing augmented reality, and I found my way. It was actually an old friend of mine who I know from my videography career. He made the same transition that I did into augmented reality, and he invited me to the MIT Reality Hack. It's a hackathon, which is a programming competition. But the reality portion of it is like virtual reality, augmented reality, extended reality, and now Apple's calling it spatial computing with their Vision Pro. It's all the same thing. So my friend invited me, and I almost didn't apply, but then he sent me a text saying like, "Hey, did you apply?" And I was like, I guess I have to, because I can't text him back and be like, "No, I was too lazy." And so I did. I didn't think I was going to get in because I was still very new to augmented reality as a technology. I was mostly a videographer and animator, but I applied anyways, and as luck would have it, I did get in. I was one of I think 400 selected participants.
Wow.
And it was I mean, in no uncertain terms, it was a life-changing event.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So
It's MIT, right?
they do
Yeah, it's
some
pretty
pretty
rad.
cool stuff over there.
Yeah, they do.
There's 400. They call us hackers, but it's sort of a tongue-in-cheek term because we're not hacking into the Pentagon or doing anything illegal or nefarious for the most part.
Today.
For the most
that I'll
part.
admit to on a podcast.
We're going to have to cut that out. He said for the most part. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
But the way that this one works, every hackathon is different, but the way that this one works is they encourage you to work with people that you've never worked with before or met before. And so the first day, it's a 3 or 4 day event, and on the first day, it's all about networking. They run workshops. They have sponsors coming to like demo all of their latest tech, and it's a very social event because the point of the first day is to make friends and like kind of feel out the other people at the competition and start to get a sense for the people that you want to work with. And then at the very end of the first day, they have you ever seen Squid Game?
Oh, you're missing out, man.
You've seen this?
Squid Games? Yeah.
What is that?
It's a TV show on Netflix. Spoiler, everybody dies.
I've seen it.
So
It's like the Hunger Games, right?
But you play children's games. Anyways, you'll have to watch it. It's insane.
So the element of Squid Game, the reason I brought up Squid Game is because it's a brutal. I mean, it's fictional. Now it's been converted into a reality show, but the fictional game is brutal both physically but also psychologically, in that the way that they like split you into your teams or whatever. But the first time that they're ever split into teams, all they're told is form a team of X number, and that's the only information that they get. And that was pretty much how they did it at MIT Reality Hack. Is they said form a team of 5 people, no more, no less, and then they sent us off on our own. And so there were 400 hackers in a university hall shouting our ideas at each other, using the whiteboards to write down the ideas, write down our Discord handles so that people can find us. And
That sounds like fun.
it was a lot of fun.
I imagine some sort of like animal school, like a party house type thing where people are like people surfing to get to another person, and then they're jumping up in the air. Somebody's on somebody else's shoulders.
It's not a frat party.
You're trying to write things as high as you can so everybody can see it, because if you take the space that's left that's down below, nobody's going to see your idea. Like pure chaos is what I imagine in this hall.
Yeah, kind of like Hunger Games is what it reminds me of. Only you're not killing each other. You're gathering. You're different. So you had to get 4 other people, a total of 5. So with 400 people, that's 80 teams, if I'm not mistaken. 80 different teams doing things.
Yeah.
I don't math.
And so did they tell you were going to do that when you first started networking, or did they say, now that you've networked, by the way, pick 4 other people? Or did you know that ahead of time?
Yeah, we knew ahead of time.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, because there's other people that have done it before, and
okay.
it's not something they would be able to hide.
Yeah. So who did you end up with?
So I ended up on a team of some of the smartest people that I've ever met, and it was lucky because in true drama fashion, TV drama fashion, we were one of the last teams to form. Not the last, but we were one of the last teams to form. And I was standing in a circle. There was a mentor that was there that was trying to kind of facilitate the team gathering because it was starting to get stressful. After the first hour, people start getting stressed out. And we were standing in a circle and kind of like sharing our ideas and our backgrounds. And then after a handful of people went, I realized, oh no, like I'm standing in a circle of people who don't know how to program. Like none of us had that developer background.
So was it like on the playground where you're picking teams and like you were picked last? You were like one of the kids who were picked last, or were you just kind of trying to figure out what's going on?
It was a little bit of both. I mean, and it's also mutual. There were some. I had a couple opportunities to join teams, and then you were like, scoped it out. I didn't like the vibe, and it was like you're committing the next 3 days of your life to spend only with these people. So you really want to make sure, and then you're going to be depending on them. So you want to make sure that you like the people that you're on the team with.
Patrick, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
If Aaron and I were there, would you have partnered with us?
No.
At least we didn't get a hell no.
Well, and I love that.
At least we didn't get
zero
no.
hesitation.
Zero.
No, I'm out. I'm out.
Thanks for joining us here on this.
Bye.
Bye.
No, if the object was to entertain everybody, I would have.
Dude, I can't blame you because we come together. It's like, no wonder you wouldn't have me. But probably me alone, I think he'd probably pick me up. I mean, a guy this smart needs security walking around. I'm not a small dude. Right, I can provide that for Patrick.
Yeah, so this
just saying.
You're doing this what seems to me like chaos. Over how much time is this occurring? You said after the first hour was stressful. Do you guys get a set amount of time, or is it like just go until everybody's on a team?
That's a good question.
Yeah, well, the buildings close at like midnight, I think, and so there's a lot of pressure to find a team by midnight. There's always a couple of teams that are a small group of people that haven't found a team by the time midnight rolls around, and then they have to roll it into the next morning. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
Luckily, I wasn't one of those people. Yeah. But yeah, so you get like, I mean, I think the opening ceremony was at like 9 p.m. and then they released us all. So we had about 3 hours to figure out who we were going to be working with.
Wow. And the whole beginning part of the day was getting to know you type classes and networking. But I've been in networking situations, and it is really hard just in a room of like 60 people to get to each person, let alone 400. So is there kind of a strategy to finding people you need? For instance, do all the programmers kind of go to one corner, and then all of the visual artists go to another corner, and then, that kind of thing? So it's kind of like a shopping, or is it just complete chaos? Like, are people writing what their skill is on their arm and they're like waving it around?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think they're still figuring it out. Every year they change it a little bit. Last year they kind of fell on their face with this new platform. It was supposed to be called the Destiny system, and it was this whole idea. They had. They kind of gamified it a little bit so that the participants. I went back last year as a mentor. I wasn't hacking this past year, but I got to witness what went on, and they had all the participants. There was an app that they were using so that every time they met somebody, they could find them within the app's interface, and then they could like rank them in terms of like how interested they are to work with them.
Oh, okay, and it's that the app. The user in their ranking, does the person they're ranking see that? Or is it just you do it as like your grocery list? I need to do this first, that, and then this, and I like this person, this person, this person. Is it more?
Yeah, so it's anonymous.
Okay,
So
all right.
So it all goes into a database.
Sure.
And the idea was that they would take all of that information and use some sort of algorithm to sort people into these perfectly leveled teams where there is a developer, there's a designer, there's a project manager, yada yada. But the system didn't work. So
I would suspect that the biggest failure in that system would be compatibility. Because like you were saying, you had the opportunity to be in several groups and really wasn't feeling the vibe. And that can kill you faster than not having the right types of skill set on your team. You could always not really figure those things out, but there's some workaround there, right? Yeah. But as soon as you get that one toxic person in your group and kills the vibe, the whole thing goes to shit. It's just...
Yeah, I can speak to that. Hiring people, for example, they can look great on paper. You can have all the stats right. This person would be perfect in this group, but then they get there and their attitude is trash, or their Eeyores, or whatever the case may be. Those intangible things that can't be accounted for, right?
Yeah,
and those are things you just kind of have to feel out.
Yeah. I mean, that's real life,
absolutely.
They tried to build that into the app. That was the part. The vibe check was part of it.
Okay.
That you rank people based on like how you feel about if you had to work with them, how you would feel about that. But again, the system didn't work. So what ended up actually happening was that they wasted an hour and a half of everybody's time and put them in an even more stressful situation where they had less time to form these teams. And so there were a lot of teams, unfortunately, that I saw that they didn't have the chance to do the vibe check earlier, and then one or two people kind of ruined it for the rest of the team. And that's just real life.
Yeah, it is. It only takes one.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I could see this process being a reality TV show.
Totally.
It fascinates me looking at all these highly intelligent people in this room, and I feel like the most uncomfortable thing for them is to be social and create a team of people, because a lot of times the high intelligence doesn't necessarily come with the social. I know from experience that the social doesn't necessarily come with high intelligence. I mean, I'm just gonna call myself out. And so that's an interesting dynamic, especially when you're trying to create a team that you could potentially be working with for years to come. I'm curious if there's data around how many of the teams that formed dissolved and how quickly they dissolved. And how that kind of happened.
What I learned is that we were kind of a unique case, that not very many teams continue to work on their projects long after the hackathon, regardless of how well they work together, just because maybe they have other jobs or luckily I didn't have anything else going on.
Is it more like a science fair type situation, where some people take their ideas and go far with it, and others are just like, look at this cool concept. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
It was just like an exercise, right? Is that kind of how it was seen?
Yeah, I mean, there's awards, and they make a competition out of it, and the people that win, they get a lot of publicity, and there's some sort of monetary award also.
Something for the old resume, huh?
Yeah.
I went to MIT and I did this. That's pretty cool. I've never been to MIT. I don't even know where it's at. Isn't it Massachusetts Institute of Technology? Is that right?
Yeah.
There you go.
I knew it.
Wow, you're so smart.
Well, see, I knew it. I was just asking him because...
You practically went there.
Yeah, I probably went there.
So the people that are currently working on Ben Vision, are they the same ones from MIT, or has that team kind of morphed and changed a little bit since then?
Yeah, we have changed a little bit. There's a couple of our members got involved in other projects, and so they weren't able to commit the same way that the rest of us were, and so they had to step out of the project. But but we're the same number, so those team members have now been replaced with new ones.
Okay.
And so it's still 5 of us that are working on it together. And 3 of us were on the original team.
Wow.
And the other 2, we still, they're still on good terms, and we still have get support from them every now and then.
So the person, your friend that encouraged you to apply for this, did they also get in?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
He's his name's Pratik, and it's funny. We used to run a TV studio together, and because our names are so similar, people would get confused. They would think that when we emailed them, they would think they were talking to one person who occasionally misspelled his own name, and then we'd show up, and they'd be like, "Oh, there's two of you." But so he actually, the year before I competed, he won the whole damn thing.
Wow.
He's a super smart dude. And then the year that I competed, he won one of the specialty prizes, not the grand prize, but one of the specialty tracks, which we also won one of the specialty tracks.
Yeah, I was going to say you came away with an award as well, right?
Yeah. It was a UN Sustainable Development Goals driven track called Working Together for Inclusion and Equity.
Wow.
That was the award we got. And then, And then my friend, he also competed this past year when I was a mentor. He competed. I didn't mentor his team, but they ended up winning a specialty track this year as well. So he's a three-peat winner.
Wow. And so does he continue to work on those, or does he just go for the competition part of it?
It's mostly been for the competition part, although this last one that he did, actually, I saw some potential in this application. I don't know how seriously he's pursuing it. He actually, I think that he did try, with last year's project, he did try to form a startup out of it, but it didn't go well, which again is like that vibe check thing. You really have to know your teammates, and sometimes you don't get to know them in those 3 days, and then something else comes out.
Sure.
It reminds me of this podcast.
Yeah, you
Sometimes
take a chance.
it just doesn't check out.
Yeah. Well, and when you decide to go into business with anybody, there's going to be some personality differences, and when you only have 3 days to get to know the people who are part of your team, there are a lot of things either in their background, in their family life, in their thoughts and ideals. All of those kinds of things come into play, and any one of those aspects could destroy a team. Totally. So you're very fortunate to have found people that you all can work well together.
Yeah, extremely lucky for that.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So what's next with Ben Vision?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, there's an ancillary product that we're actually launching ahead of the release of our flagship product. The ancillary product is called Speakaboo, and I can actually show it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see it.
Let's see what it has to say. I hope it works. If it doesn't, I'm never going to hear the end of it.
No, it's a work in process.
Yeah. So I'll show you guys the interface. It's very simple. You just have a viewfinder here. Oh, awesome. You just have a viewfinder here, and there's a button at the bottom that it says "Hold to speak." So what you can do is you can click that button on the bottom, and it'll just return a simple description of what it sees, or you can hold it and ask it a specific question.
Ooh, do Aaron.
No, do Bigfoot.
Let's see what happens. Okay, got the picture. Okay, it's not working.
It says it doesn't exist.
That's because it's a Bigfoot.
Doesn't exist.
Point it at Aaron's head. Let's see what it says.
Let's try it one more time.
All right. Here we go. It makes a Yeti noise.
A man and woman podcasting about Bigfoot.
What?
Man and woman podcasting about Bigfoot.
Men and women podcasting about Bigfoot.
That's awesome.
You pointed it at the Sasquatch and it picked up the microphones, the Shure SM7B. It recognized them. Are you kidding me? It recognized this.
Okay, so let's think of a question to ask it about,
my gosh.
about this image. Maybe
About that image? Okay.
Yeah, or about anything, I guess.
Oh, okay. I don't know what I would ask.
Is it a male or female?
Oh, we already got. Oh, is Sasquatch?
Yeah, is Sasquatch male or female? Let's see what it says, because I don't even know. I can't tell.
Yeah, let's find out.
Yeah,
Can you point it towards me again?
Yes.
Okay. What is the gender of this bobblehead?
It is impossible to determine a person's gender based on an image.
Okay, that's
That's
fair.
a good answer.
That's
I mean,
fair.
I've
All
seen
right.
women with beards.
Sure. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, I grew up in the South.
That is very cool. Okay, I have another question for it.
Okay.
Can it tell me like a history of something, or does it need to be very generic and high level?
I don't know. We can try it though.
Oh, okay.
What's the history of the No Direction podcast?
Probably doesn't know that.
Probably doesn't know that.
It probably would
doesn't
know
know
the history of the Grit podcast.
No, I doubt that
I
too.
doubt that either. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you tell me what we should ask it. I'm at a loss. I don't know.
We can ask it to let's have it describe what you're wearing.
Okay, sure.
Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe what this woman is wearing?
The woman is wearing blue jeans, a purple and gray plaid shirt, and sparkly silver sneakers.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
You
got
picked
your
up her
sneakers, too.
shoes.
I didn't even see that.
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Wow, that's cool.
Do me. Do me.
Ask it if this person is athletic.
Okay. How would you describe this person's physique?
Nice.
Better be nice to me.
The man appears to have an average build, neither particularly muscular nor thin.
That's bull crap. Your product is crap, Patrick.
At least it didn't say you
I was
were-
even flexing.
I know. That was a very
Look at this, I was
diplomatic
even-
response.
No, I don't
amazing.
know. I haven't been in the gym in a couple weeks,
Well,
Patrick.
at least
That's
it didn't
probably-
say that your skin is translucent. So you've got that going for you.
God, you're so mean. I can't believe I agree to do this every single week.
That was amazing. Is there anything
Not
else?
particularly athletic. Are you kidding me?
No, average build.
No.
Oh my God, that was
Your
amazing.
product needs an update, Patrick. There's got to be some kind of update.
Just for Jamie.
I don't know.
though.
I liked it.
Put a Jamie
I like
filter
that
in there.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That was
I
hilarious.
love those answers. The first one where it was a podcast about Bigfoot, that blew my mind because it was, for those of you who are just listening in, I mean, it's just a Bigfoot bobblehead that I held up, but the mic is in the background. And so it automatically thought that we were podcasting about
know.
Bigfoot. So that was rad.
That's brilliant.
That was
I
very
thought it
cool.
was going to bring up the Geico caveman because to me, that's kind of what that looks like.
Sure, it does with his, he looks
People
very,
podcasting about Geico.
very thoughtful
Yeah.
dude.
Patrick,
Is there anything else
yeah.
that you want to share with us about Ben Vision or about yourself or AI or
Or needed updates to your program?
when is it supposed to launch? Do you have a date yet, or is it just coming soon?
We're trying to launch it by the end of this week, so it'll probably by
Oh,
the time
wow.
the podcast is out, it'll probably be available at least in a beta form.
And if people
Nice.
wanted to download the app, where would they do it, and what is it called?
Yeah, so you can go to ben.vision. That's our main website URL, ben.vision, and then just slash speakaboo, and it's spelled how it sounds, speakaboo, SPEAKABOO, like peekaboo.
Peekaboo, but Speakaboo, and then you can download it Android and iOS devices.
Ooh, good call out. No, only iOS right
Yeah,
now.
that's right.
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yep.
The creatives.
You have an iPhone.
Exactly.
I do.
Good
Yes,
job.
of course I do.
Patrick, do you
Yes.
have an iPhone or an Android?
I do. I have an iPhone.
Yeah, all the smart people do. Okay.
Most creatives have iPhones, but
Just
that's
saying.
fine. I digress.
But I should qualify that we're working towards an Android solution also. It's
Yeah.
it's
Well,
really
you just want to
hard.
be inclusive.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
those Android people, they get left out sometimes, and that's okay.
totally.
That's okay.
Although most blind people use iPhone because they have really streamlined accessibility
Yeah.
features built in.
Oh,
That's
nice.
true.
I
So,
didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's true.
So that's your focus because that's your audience.
Yeah. Although,
Nice.
but we don't want to exclude any blind person who happens to have an Android phone.
Absolutely.
Right,
We're
right.
still trying to get that done.
Very cool.
Well, Patrick, I, for one, am glad that you're here. Even though your program has greatly insulted my self-esteem, I've walked away a smaller man today than I anticipated. But other than that, I really enjoyed having you. Aaron, what do you think?
I think it's great.
I want to have him.
I really appreciate all of your insight.
Absolutely.
We only know what we know, so we bring experts on to help educate us and teach us the cool
Enthusiast.
things that are enthusiasts. See, in my mind, you're an expert because you know way more than I do, but I appreciate the enthusiasm of this enthusiast.
Well, everybody
into
that knows
AI.
you is an expert, I guess.
Facts. That is true.
Well, thank you guys so much for having
yeah.
me on. It was
Yeah.
a pleasure and a blast.
Great
Thank
having
you,
you.
Patrick. We appreciate you. All right. So if you want to find us, where are they finding us? In all the places. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, I guess. Google used to have podcasts. They don't anymore.
Oh,
I don't
YouTube
think.
has podcasts. YouTube podcasts.
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
We got a YouTube channel.
Both on podcasts and video. So like, subscribe, smash,
Yeah.
all the things. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Out. All
That
right.
was fantastic.